Good morning. Good morning. It is night 2 of 3. I am working night shift. I am getting ready for work, and I am a nurse in the ER. I've been a nurse for 25 years, and I am just sharing some experiences, doing a little get ready with me. And yeah, let's get into it. It's night 2 of 3. I actually was kind of struggling with making this video tonight. And I will just let you know that we all have moments in our jobs and careers where we feel a little, taxed and tired and um, we're humans as nurses, and that's something I want to talk about. I feel like as nurses, we are perceived, and it is a public perception that we are givers, and there's an expectation that goes with that. And unfortunately, this video is definitely for my nurses out there. It's really not for patients, but patient's family, if you hear this, then hear me when I say that we're people. We have our own lives too before we come into work, and although we do our best to put it away when we come to take care of you and your family, sometimes it's difficult, and we do the best we can given the circumstances of whatever's going on in our job with resources, lack of resources, lack of staffing. We're trying to put our best foot forward, and there are times when it is difficult to make people happy. So if you struggle with making people happy or dealing with difficult patients, which I'm sure that never, ever, ever happens. Sorry, that was some sarcasm there. Yeah, this might be your video to watch. Last night was tough. I typically don't talk about all my experiences, but in a vague way I can do that. I had an incident last night, and it's kind of sticking with me, and I just it won't after probably a day or two, but it just, I don't know, made me think. It was a patient who was upset about something that honestly I had nothing to do with. I was working in an area in the emergency department where it was crazy busy last night. Like, we had a lot going on, and it was just kind of one of those like all hands on deck kind of nights where there was a lot more patients than there was nurses resources, but we were getting through it, and we were getting everybody taken care of, and it was going pretty smoothly, all things considered. But there was somebody who wasn't happy with the care that they were provided. And have you ever dealt with someone who is upset and kind of wants to stay in the upset mode? And this is kind of a lesson in dealing with difficult people. This person had been treated and then was released and being discharged, and he walked by me as I was walking up towards another patient's room, and he stopped me and said something negative about being angry at the provider. And I stopped what I was doing, and I asked if there were, I listened first. I asked what was going on or what we could do. I asked if he had his paperwork and his prescription, and he had everything in hand, but he was angry. And he started going off, like yelling at me. And I honestly was blindsided by it. But, I kind of just took a moment, and I was like, it's not about me. It's not about me. But I needed to try to diffuse the situation because he was making a bit of a scene in the hallway outside of other patient rooms. And as I listened, I waited, and when he had finally finished what he was upset about, I kind of, you restate the understanding of, I understand that you're upset about A, B, and C. Can I do this, or that to remedy the situation? Is there something we can do? I understand your frustration. I wasn't there for what you experienced, and I apologize for what you feel. I wasn't going to apologize for something I didn't know anything about. All I could do was, empathize with the fact that he was upset. I'm not going to throw any coworkers under the bus. I don't know what happened. So as he continued on, I thought about the situation. I'm like, okay, well, I have like one of 3 solutions I can offer him, or all 3. So I started offering some solutions to what his frustration was about. They were really good solutions too. Did not want that. wanted to be mad. I'm going in with my brown tonight. I'm probably going to do I'm going with navy today. I'm going to be doing some navy stuff, and I'm just feeling a little blue. So, anyway, it became very apparent that no matter what solution I offered, that wasn't what he was looking for. He wanted to be mad. This was not somebody who wanted a solution to the problem, because clearly, once he restated his problem 3 times and I offered a very valid solution to it, he was mad that he didn't get a particular medication. So I offered to talk to the doctor, see if we could get that medication for him, or talk to the pharmacist and see if we could, get his med filled that he was out of. And it was, I don't want to wait. I've been here all day. I blah, blah, you guys should have done it before I was walking out the door. I can't fix that. What I can do is try to fix and remedy the problem. And I'm stopping what I'm doing right now to try to see if I can help. Nope. He didn't want that. So he kind of got a little bit more angry and started getting louder about the fact that it should have been done before he was being discharged. I said, well, he said, I'm leaving. I'm tired. I want to go home. I said, well, if you want to do, I offered a few solutions if he was going to leave. No, he still was pissed. He was pissed. And he, finally I just stopped talking. I was like, well, I did say, I'm sorry that, I can't offer you a solution that you will be content with. If you're going to go home, then, I hope you feel better. And I stopped talking and I walked away. I had to. I escorted him out the door, and I went about my job. So I had a pretty sick patient too. So I walked in the room. I didn't say anything, but sometimes our expression can be read on our face, or even though I had a mask on, I probably sighed in a way that I didn't even realize I had done. And I got about my business. Like I started doing what I needed to do to take care of my other patient. So I was doing that, and as I was reaching up above towards the bed to grab some gloves, my patient grabbed my other hand and he squeezed, and he said, I've been in here for a couple hours, so I hear everything that's going on. And he said, I'm just an old man who probably doesn't know anything, but I've lived a little bit. And he said, if I've learned anything in life, you can't make everybody happy. And I'm not allowed to talk about what went on with that other patient, but clearly he heard the interaction. And I just nodded and I said, listen, we're here to help. I'm here for it every day, and I'm here to give whatever I can. So I want you to know that I'm here for you. And, I just kind of nodded after that. And he said something like about how he had heard it, and in a way he validated me, and I didn't like that. I didn't want somebody to feel like that burden of the fact that they were validating something that went on. I felt bad that he had heard the whole interaction, but he did, and he made a very nice comment about, he said, you handled that with grace and kindness, and you just have to understand that you can't always make people happy. They're bent on being mad. And I just kind of, didn't really say much more than that. I got about the business of taking care of him and making some adjustments I needed to make with his oxygen or whatever I was doing. And it sat with me for a minute, and then I had to move on because I had like a million other things going on. And sure as anything, I could not believe this even happened. I'm sitting in the area, the nurse charting area. I had just sat down after doing a whole bunch more, but I hit, about 5-15 minutes, who knows what time had passed, probably 20. And all of a sudden, I hear a voice at the door of the small office, and he's loud. It's that man. He's back again. He had accessed he had gained access to the department again when someone opened the door, and slipped back in because he wanted to come back for round 2. I actually didn't say a word. He ended up getting one of the doctors who was, also who attempted to do what I had done, and that wasn't what he wanted either. And, finally after another 5 or 10 minutes, he walked out again. But it was getting to that point where it was kind of an escalating situation, and I was getting concerned that we might have to involve our police because, for him to access the back door and come back into the department like that, sneak back in when he wasn't given access to the department was kind of a lot. And, you have to be very careful because there are people out there, you don't always know what their mental, state is. And when some people get mad, they're looking to get even. And I was keeping my antenna up because this was somebody, I've seen this before when people get like this. They're bent on being angry. Sometimes they get vendetta focused. So he didn't do that. He did leave eventually, but it's just those kind of situations that go on for us every single day. And that can be taxing. And I don't think the public understands that we do this like day in and day out, and we deal with these situations like time and time and time and time again. It can be really tough when you do it over and over and over and over. And that's where, if you're not supported by your leadership, which I feel we are supported by leadership, so I don't have a problem there. That can be really hard when you feel like you're not supported. And I've been in situations where I've worked at other hospitals that I did not feel supported by leadership about safety issues or difficult patients or behavioral issues that went on. So I feel like we're pretty well supported in that regard, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't tax you mentally, emotionally, whatever. Because, here we are out here giving our all to people, and sometimes people they're people, and that's all I gotta say. People be people, and there's some people that just have their own issues they're bringing with them to the emergency department that don't have anything to do with patient care. They're looking for they're looking for a kick that dog moment. They're looking for the first person in their line of sight that they can beat up. So, don't tolerate it. Just don't try not to take it into your psyche. Try not to absorb it. What I try to remind myself is I do my best every single day. I give my best to my patients when I am with them. Like I said, you probably heard me hear this before on this channel. I feel very passionately about what I do. I care a lot about my patients, and I give a lot. So I don't get all guilt tripped out about the fact that I have one person who's kind of being an ass, which that can happen. All right, I gotta put my eyeliner on. I'm trying to get moving. Here I go again, as I'm always in a hurry, right? I am, just going to go in tonight with an attitude of gratitude and try to do the best I can for people. Ew, I pressed a little too hard right there. I use my sponge when I put my eyeliner on because I don't like to get finger marks on my cheeks or around my eyes when I'm doing it. So I'm just gonna go into it with positivity if I can. I know it's just hard sometimes, and I'm tired. Like, I don't know what's going on. I slept for a few hours today. I slept about 5.5 hours, which usually I get a lot more sleep, but today was a little different. Don't know why. I just had a little hard time sleeping. Got up a little bit earlier than I wanted to. Not too bad on my eyes. Got up a little earlier than I wanted to and got a cup of coffee, sat down, did a few things around the house, got some things cleaned up, and, probably should have made myself go back to bed, but I didn't. So you are in a position to, make or break things as far as patient experience. But again, that's what administrations will have you believe. But sometimes you can only do what you can do, and you can't make everybody happy. On a side note, we had another thing come up recently where someone called the bosses to complain that they had been in the emergency department, not a patient, I don't think they were a patient, but they were observing other staff and other patients in the waiting room. So they called and I guess filed a complaint that they witnessed what they thought, we could do better on this or that, and we weren't paying attention, or we weren't doing this or that. And apparently it was some kind of a student who felt like she could do better with a patient care issue and wanted to let the bosses know what she thought about the somebody's triage or whatever. And it was just kind of mind-boggling. But sometimes there's people who don't mind their own business and don't understand that there are dynamics and things go on, and when they're just observing one part of an interaction in a waiting room, and that's a stressful environment in itself. And as I sit and talk about this video may not even make it to upload, because I think about all of this and I'm like, God, this is some bullshit that I'm talking about right now. And I don't love the discussion. But yeah, sometimes people have this mentality that they know everything and they're gonna tell you how to do your job, and that, I love student nurses. Girls, boys, everybody in those programs, let me tell you something. If you're a student nurse and you think you're gonna save the world and tell nurses who have been doing this job for 20 some odd years how to do their job, you got another thing coming. Because you might come out of school thinking you know everything, and I promise you, you know a little bit, but you don't know everything. And you will learn very quickly that the things you learn in the book are just a basic foundation for the real deal that's going on out here in the real world. And that's something that there's some student nurses, not all, there's one or two out of every class that wants to save the world and write up senior nurses because they think they know better than them about what to do in patient care situations when they've never even done it. And all I gotta say is, you will get served if you keep acting foolish like that. You'll learn. Anyway, this has been a little bit of a toxic video. I don't think I'm going to upload this video. I think this is going to probably be one for the can. But anyway, yeah, night 2 of 3. I got to dry my hair. Here we go. And I will see you on the flip side.